watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really want to talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks and telling you you're wrong. And so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am your host, Andy, and with me this week, as you may have already guessed by how long your podcatcher is telling you this episode is, making her first appearance this season, Emma. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. We'll see. Who knows? With this episode, we might keep it to a normal length.
It's possible. Obviously, I do not know how long, but, odds.
We're guessing.
Plus, we got to give a good 20 to 30 minutes over to, a niche genre star of some kind, and then just kind of let it go, because that's what apparently the fans want.
I know that's what I voted for.
Yeah. I wonder how I would have voted if that was a question. Do you want... Because they'd also worded it. Do you want once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to see worldwide stars, or do you just want the boring old Survivor? I think I would have said boring old Survivor. But
yeah,
before
probably.
we get into this episode, since this is your first time talking about the season, so including this episode, but maybe not just limited to this episode, how have you been feeling about the season thus far?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I think 3 hours for the premiere was pretty long.
Yep.
Especially because the way it was formatted was weird. I mean, I don't know, maybe CBS needed it because they didn't start the new cooking show yet, and they were just like, okay, we'll just do the Kyle thing. But it was a little odd. But other than that, I've been enjoying it. I did go to RHAP's Live Know-It-Alls last week, to which quick shout out to another fellow Emily who is a listener of Purple Rock and recognized my voice, which was weird.
Wait, I thought your name was Emma this whole time.
I mean, what? Yeah, well, Emma Stone is really Emily, so maybe I'm actually Emma Stone, you guys. Who knows? These celebrities, they're big fans. But anyway, being in that live environment for that episode was a lot of fun. So it's a little hard, maybe it would have hit differently. But I tell you, that Rizo Charlie sequence in a crowd went crazy.
Imagine how this week would have been in the crowd.
Oh God, I'm so
glad. A lot of
it
chances
wasn't.
to go to the washroom. Go.
Yeah, I really did have to kind of wait, not being able to go to the bathroom, and I would have been saved there. Yeah, but this was definitely one of those weeks where the fact that I watch live is a shame. But what are you going to do? My mom won't text herself, so I watch live. But yeah, otherwise, for the most part, I guess shorter answer. See, this is how we go long. Short answer. Good season so far. We'll see.
Yeah. Obviously, I think people are already getting the sense of how we're feeling about this episode, and I'll just lead off. And I've said it a lot in the past, and I'll say it again. Thank God for 90-minute episodes.
Well, who knows? Because maybe if this was an hour, that would have been a half the episode, and we lose the camp. I don't know the tribe names, but we lose the talent show or something. Which I could
have lost that too. But yeah,
it was better than the reward.
Certainly, it was. No, I mean, in some ways, I'm serious because, for the first time ever in my Survivor watching experience, I fast forwarded through multiple segments. I don't know if I've ever fast forwarded through any segments other than maybe the reunion, because I hate those.
Even rites of passage?
No, well, for one, back then, fast forwarding was less of an option. I mean,
yeah.
I think some of the early ones, I was recording them on VHS if I wasn't at home. But no, I mean, I don't know. For one, there's a kitschy appeal to that, and it's still about the show. But once we get Like, we'll get into it, but like everybody knows what I was fast forwarding through. So yeah, no, like that stuff sucked. But because of 90-minute episodes, there's still like a Survivor episode wrapped around it that
Right.
was like all right, and because I didn't have to sit through some of that stuff, my kind of like this was the worst episode of the season. This was a huge misstep in general, and I fully understand any of the annoyance and anger of the fan community. But because I didn't have to watch it all, it wasn't so bad for me. How about you?
Yeah, I did watch it all, although I can't say I was paying the closest attention.
Yeah.
Has me really hoping that the Mr. Beast appearance will fall for during one of the 2 episodes where I'm on vacation next month. Or I would say, or maybe a later one where I'm going to a concert on a Wednesday, but that's like the penultimate episode of the season.
Yeah,
so
I
he better not.
You've already come through.
He better not be there then. But yeah, and hopefully there will be the possibility of fast forward in my future. Yeah, no, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Like I got nothing else. It was bad.
Yeah, so obviously it's the Zac Brown part of it. We should make clear, if you guys want to do your Zac Brown top threes, you can go ahead and put them on the site, but we will not be participating because the name sound like familiar enough. It's like, I think that's a country music star, like when they announced it in the preview last week. But otherwise, I have no familiarity with this gentleman, which with it comes like indifference. It's not angry. It's like, oh, this fucking guy or why. No, I don't care. I get the sense that he is a very well-selling country music artist. Problem is, like, even the biggest country music artists are kind of, that's a whole other genre. Like, there's not a lot of crossover. There's been a bit more in some recent ones, but yeah, so it's like a whole punchier audience. And then I guess just the fractured nature of the culture. Everything's going to be, some people will get it and some people won't. But it isn't even like I was annoyed by him or anything. It's just like, I don't fucking care about this random guy's, even if they're famous, experience on Survivor. I hardly care about fishing segments when they are with actual survivors. So yeah, once they start doing that, like I don't need to see this. Like I don't think that there'll be any insights that I need to come out of it. But like, how was your experience kind of similar, where you're just like bored now, or was it like, why are you making me watch this guy?
Bored now for sure. I do have. There is some level of resentment because I was more familiar, it sounds like, than you are. Not a ton, but enough that it's too many of the country guys have very similar names. So when Zac Brown had some sort of scandal with some like barstool girl, I don't know, who went by the name Brianna Chicken Fry, I raises more questions than it answers. That was very confusing to me because Zac Brown band, I guess he's actually Zac Brown. It's the Zac Brown band.
Well, the band is, but the band wasn't there. So
right, but he had a song called Chicken Fry. So, and that song I unfortunately know because it came out when I was in college, and 2 girls I lived with, despite mostly not being country fans, played it so much.
Yeah.
And
I know that he has that song because I like looked on Spotify. Like, do I know any of his songs? It's the number one. But yeah, like if I've ever heard one of his songs, I was unaware that I was.
And like that's like I'm not a country music fan in general. There are some songs I like. I like to joke that I only like country music when it's sung by angry women. If we're killing Earl, that's all good. But that song is like everything that I hate. It's so bad. It's just not for me. I shouldn't say so bad, but it's just not. They're singing about chicken and drinking beer. I don't like either of those things.
Yeah.
And then twang. I don't vibe with twang. Yeah. So the worst part about it is that just his presence. And they also had it on the little radio thing, meant that song has periodically been in and out of my head since last night, and that makes me unhappy.
Yeah. Do you think they asked Chase Rice?
No.
No, I don't think. And if they had, would people be reacting like, "Oh, that's that guy"? Were you surprised at how much people were reacting? Again, like I can think he's a big star in his world. So
I was not surprised to see Colby and Jonathan have a reaction.
or Joe, which I think we saw like in the commercial last week. So
Honestly, I didn't even notice Joe have a reaction. I'm gonna be real. I was surprised that
I mean, I think he
D
gave it a bash.
D not only like reacted, but like she clearly knew, like she
Yeah.
called it from the
Before he was
beginning.
in
So
it.
I was like, oh, I believe her. Like she's not just like saying that she's a fan. That surprised me a little bit, just on like age and like Miami. Like it's funny. My husband, who for other people's context is Latino, that this will sound crazy otherwise, was like, well, Hispanic people do like country music. I should note he doesn't though.
Yeah.
So clearly not a monolith. I don't know why he's acting, but I was like, as a Californian and like I would have read that more as like Mexican, like Southwest,
Yeah, that would make sense,
cowboy
but
culture.
South,
But
I guess.
Cuban Miami is not what I would have guessed that vibe to be. But I'm not from there, I don't know. And people like all kinds of
Yeah.
music, man. And you know what hit more was when she talked about like growing up with it. It was like, okay, I'm like, I think like 8 to 10 years older than her. And that song came out when I was in college. And it's like, I mean, I guess if she was in like, an early teen or something, anything from that era kind of hits harder. But yeah, I was surprised that she was
no,
such
that
a big
surprised
fan.
me a bit, and then I was kind of like, there's probably a lot of things about Dee that will surprise people because I just put her in one bucket. I think Rizzo was fucking lying when he knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
About
there's
like getting
there's always
screen
that.
time and that sort of thing.
Yeah. I love Applebee's.
Yeah.
It's my favorite sit-down restaurant.
Yeah. I was like, so it's like for me, it's not even about this guy in particular. I will say, like, I am somebody who is pretty open-minded about most music. The one exception is
Can
like I have no
confirm.
time for bro country. I don't know if he is that, but that is the one form of music that I'll just dismiss as culturally blank. Like there's no value in that kind of music. Come at me if you want, but it's written by like 6 guys in Nashville, and all
Right.
they do is just turn the different knobs. So like whether they want truck, blue jeans, American flag. Again,
Yeah,
I don't know if his music is that. So like it wasn't that, but it's just like it was so much of it, and like on maybe a regular season of Survivor, that would be a little bit more acceptable. I will fully believe that for the people there, this was a really special reward, especially because the food looked amazing. For those of us that enjoy food.
Yeah.
But that doesn't translate for us. And again, if all it was is, we get to see them and maybe a little bit from Zac Brown about how much he loves Survivor. Sure. Feeds the brand. He plays a song. Two felt like a bit much.
Felt like a lot.
But we also get like a segment of him, like the Survivor segment of him. I love the jokes about like his winner at it, but those were good. But yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I was kept hoping like how, like, what would have made that segment amazing is if Colby's just like spends the whole time looking for an idol during, the performance. That would have been something, But then it made me think, it's like, so is my indifference that I came here to see, all-stars play Survivor and not some rando celebrity? Or was it that I have no attachment to this celebrity at all? Which then leads to the question is like, is there a celebrity who they could have done this with that would have made you care?
Yeah, so you asked that ahead of time, and so I'm thinking about it. And I'm someone who, is very passionate about pop culture, and does follow celebrities and whatnot. And so there are celebrities out there that I would be really excited to meet. So I try to be, empathetic to Dee a little bit and be like, okay, well, I don't give a shit about Zac Brown, but if I can like replace that in my brain with someone who like would be similar, I probably would also feel some type of way. But yeah, at the end of the day, no, like I would watch an interview of like the celebrity I care about or go to something else that involves them. A Survivor, I want Survivor. It's sort of like when we talked about the preview for 50 during the finale for 49. It's like, I don't know why, same with like fire tokens in 40, why they keep adding these gimmicks to the seasons that should be most guaranteed to stand on their own. This is like a season lives and dies by its cast for the most part. And All-Star seasons are the most vetted casts you have. How, sure, sometimes someone might still flop on their second appearance, like, Brenda deciding, what if I took out all my personality?
Yeah.
But like for the most part, you should have hits, and they're like, what if we didn't talk about that instead?
Yeah.
And like, I get why Zac Brown would prefer to go on a season with returnees, as he said, like he watches the show, he feels like he knows those people. I was like, yeah, that's what a parasocial relationship is, buddy. But like, it was so long.
Yeah. Like if they marched out Boston Rob, imagine that they just turn over large segments of a season of Survivor over to Boston Rob. I wouldn't have been interested in that. I'll say the season that they did that, for one, I still probably wasn't interested every time they went and visited. Him and Sandra up in like their spy shack. Right. That was fun. The segments with them, less so. But that cast also sucked, right? So at the very least, it's like, you know what? I don't really need to see more of Dean and Nora, But here's like, no, can we just get back to the All-Stars that I wanted to watch? And it didn't help that like the tribe that wins the reward, I'm not that interested in them.
Right. It was really the worst possible combination.
Yeah. So to answer my own question, like probably the answer is no, because I'm also like, I'm not that interested in celebrities in general. I'm interested in like art and like, but like celebrities are just people with talent for most part. I don't know if that I'm immune to geeking out, but for the most part,
some of them are hot.
Yes. And I suppose like if there was a segment with like a really attractive person in swimwear, that could have some appeal. The one thought I had is like, what if they like had like Flavor Flav out there, because like all his segments of the Olympics, those are fun, right? So if it's like Flav, like, hey, I'm going to learn how to spearfish or something, like maybe a little entertaining. It would.
And Flavor Flav knows how to do reality TV.
Yes. So,
millennials know.
Now imagine like, all right, everybody gather around. I'm going to do an a cappella version of like 911 as a joke. That might be tough. But I don't know that I'd actually, there I'd at least be like, what the fuck or something. But like, this is just like, God. So yeah, I fast forwarded through his whole fishing segment, and you'll never get me to believe that he actually fucking caught those fish. Nope. Sorry. Did not happen.
The manta ray looked cool in the water just because manta rays are cool, but that's...
what would really made that cool? If it was fucking Ozzy or something, somebody that I've been invested in. Now, exactly. Zach's out there in a boat. And then, like, I watched some of the performance, not because I cared at all about the performance. I did make the joke that, like, once he grabs his guitar, I like that they, like, dedicated a lot of good time with him tuning. It's like, we couldn't have done that all. But, I was like, anyway, here's Wonderwall. Like, that would have been great. But then I was, like, watching, like, the survivors react to it, but even then I'm like, that's enough. Fast forwarded through that, so like it didn't bother me as much as most people, but it's like, and like you didn't need to do this. The fans are here for this, not this other stuff. Have confidence in your product, Survivor.
And I don't blame like obviously the people who are fans of season, but even if you aren't a fan on the show, like the people who won the reward, like they had the only music they've heard in 9 days is Jeff rapping. So, like, even if it's not your genre, it's
I probably would have been like, hey, this is cool. This is something,
You've got a hammock. You just ate. Like, that's not too bad.
People are reacting. I suspect this guy's a thing. But yeah, mostly like there's entertainment. I mean, before this, our entertainment was, Rick's bad juggling. Not a different tribe, but, So yeah, that was a huge drain on it. But let's get to the Survivor stuff.
Thank God.
Yeah, so and this is why I can't say it was a bad episode. It was just a very bad idea. Was after we get back from that, and we have a grueling challenge where the outcome was not very much in doubt. Not on the breakdown, but do you believe that Q being there would have made enough of a difference? And then assume that it's in the place of Angelina.
Yeah, in the place of Angelina. I mean, we've seen him lose an arch puzzle before, so do I think like maybe they get to the puzzle?
Yeah, I think maybe they eventually get through there, but I think that's still not enough, like,
Yeah.
because like their athleticism still isn't like beefy athleticism besides Q. So
Right.
it's, like, it's easy to be like, yeah, this is why you don't vote out a challenge piece. I'm like, I think they would have lost anyway. Yeah, anyway. Then we get all the different tribal machinations, and we'll just start with where it ended up. Christian decides to turn on his buddy Mike, pulling off a 3-2-1 vote, and you were very excited about the 3-2-1 element, I gather.
I mean, after having that big long segment at the reward, it was the stimulation I needed.
Yeah, this is the Survivor that we get to see. It's actually
I was like,
Survivor.
ooh, Survivor, and it's like compelling. They're doing different things. It's not as much as I maybe would have preferred just a straight vote out of Stephanie, or even it like, but like if the other option was like, oh, they're just gonna all vote Angelina except for Mike White and Angelina. This is more exciting than that.
Yep.
I don't know if it was the right call, but it was interesting. And then you got Emily saying shit again.
No, I think it was very entertaining and just shows. Yeah, again, when you got survivors cooking with gas, you can do stuff, because it flipped around. It felt like Stephanie was never on the table, and that's very disappointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that so it was an entertaining gambit by Christian. I almost wonder if the cleverness of it was part of the appeal for him. We can get to that, but the question then is like, should he have done this? Should he have voted out Mike, or should he have just gone ahead and voted out Emily?
Yeah, I think honestly, he maybe should have just voted out Angelina.
So with Christian,
Not even Emily.
And then
Yeah.
obviously with Stephanie
And just
and
not
Emily.
done a 3-2-1 at all. Like, because Ozzy isn't on it. Stephanie will be fine with that. Also, it could still be a 3-2-1 and have Emily vote for Mike White at that point. If you don't think she'll be in on it, but because Mike White's trying to save her, but I think he would know it's like possible that it won't work or something. But yeah, I guess if we're just making it a binary choice, I think vote out Emily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially once she, I know she didn't spill the full beans, but when she's like talking to Ozzy, be like, okay, and because he made the 3-2-1, he literally can make that decision himself.
Yes. Yeah, he doesn't have to get her in on. Well, obviously, you're not going to get her on the vote to get rid of herself. Yeah, and obviously you burn Ozzy in that, but that's already part of your plan. So
yeah. You kind of burn Stephanie, but she probably gets over it because it doesn't matter, and just be like, I changed my mind at the last minute or something.
Yeah. I don't think he should have voted out Mike. I can understand reasons why, and I'll get into them. But I mean, John and I were talking about it last week. Emily's not a solid ally, and you should probably disentangle yourself with that. And yes, the evidence was there last week that apparently Christian, nicer man than me, just completely forgave that she blew up the whole story about the idol within the first half hour at camp. But then, yes, you get it this time, too, where you're trying to save her and she's resistant. And I don't think she's wrong to be resistant for the reasons she's giving. Not even resistant to vote out Mike. She's fine with that part. But not telling Ozzy, fine. But then, okay, you feel like you convinced her to not do that. And then, there she is. And it's just like all you need to know about like what kind of alliance partner she's going to be. You have 2 days of evidence of that. And for me, that's not the kind of alliance partner I want.
No, and I think that is one of the many things we tend to be aligned on, is that like playing with, like, watching the chaotic players, sure. Playing with them, terrible idea. Really never goes well for anybody. And sorry, I got distracted and lost my train of thought. But oh yeah, it's truly like the classic, like, fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice, and it's like you're gonna get fooled 3 times now.
Mm-hmm. And then I think of other things that he didn't think through is I don't know that Christian thought through the implications of what happens next. I think he was spooked by Mike after their conversation, and I think that's perfectly understandable and legitimate. I actually think Mike did a bad job in that conversation, unbeknownst to him, and he probably just assumed that he's talking to his friend Christian, and he can just talk. But like he does in confessional admit to like, hey, I'm so Machiavellian and manipulative, and he thinks he has it. I don't know that he had to bring up the Gabby stuff.
It did kind of feel like in talking about that, he and like saying like, oh, Emily could be the Gabby, like forgetting that Gabby was unsuccessful in voting and getting the vote on Chris. Well, I guess she got the votes, but they played an unsuccessful in getting Christian out, and B, that Mike White is the one who ultimately got Christian out.
And in fact was working with Gabby in that vote as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
But yeah, I think like
so perhaps who is he afraid of in that moment?
And I'll say Mike probably didn't have the best argument because I don't know if he knew the details. The reason why you voted out Emily is because what she did yesterday. It's like, hey, remember when Emily spilled your secret to everybody at camp? I think that's why she, instead he's like, oh, she's manipulative. She's like this wolf in sheep's clothing and like that. And I don't think that's true. I don't know that she's this master strategist no, she's dangerous because she can't keep her mouth shut. And that's why you should get rid of her. But again, I don't know if Mike knows that. So then when he pushes a little too hard, and I'm guessing he got a sense of it because he had the conversation with Angelina, and then maybe you got a sense of, hey, I don't know. Like, Christian isn't saying no, but I don't know how enthusiastic his yes is. But I think by trying to like, okay, I know how I'm going to get him to vote my way, he pushed a little hard, and undoubtedly Christian came into this season spooked about Mike. Because Mike voted him out, right? He voted for Mike to win that season. He respects Mike White as a Survivor player. So then once that happens, I totally understand that Christian was like, this was exactly what I was worried about. I got to do something here. So then that's his first instinct. Then I think he thinks of this way, I'm going to make it happen. 3, 2, 1, and that'll be clever. And I think that appeals to his like gamer sensibilities about Survivor. But okay, you've done it. And you did it by having to rely on Emily, and that it worked enough because the vote worked, but like you had to like stare her down in weird ways as she's talking. You alienated Aussie. Stephanie has no loyalty to you, and obviously Angelina's pissed. Is he in trouble here?
Yeah, and for exactly what you just pointed out, like he doesn't really have someone he can count on. Like, no. Emily is his closest ally. Emily is unreliable. And as we know, he doesn't necessarily like, she's not only just unreliable, but she has like no sense of loyalty, except suddenly now to Ozzy, which like, what happened to the Emily who was constantly trying to vote Ozzy out?
Why we got to talk about old stuff? That was a day and a half ago. But that
he really won her over. That was crazy.
Yeah. And like, even there though, like Emily is expressing to Christian some hesitance, right? She doesn't want to blindside Aussie with this. And Christian just pushes past that. And like, it's easy to criticize Emily because the way she goes about it, as soon as Aussie comes up, then she's just like, so this is what's happening. It's like, we just talked about this. But I don't think she's wrong to want to tell Aussie. I don't think she's wrong to feel like we should actually have him on board for this. This would be like the second vote in a row. I was like, don't worry, what's Ozzy going to do about it? Or no, he did flip at the end. They weren't planning on bringing Ozzy in on that vote, I think, last week, but then she did, right? So like, I understand her wanting to, and she might not be wrong. You should maybe get more of a consensus because you guys are going back to tribal council tomorrow. So like, he didn't really do anything about her hesitancy either. I think he was so focused on like, this is going to be the big move for me and it's going to be awesome. But like, if it just been a clean vote, and maybe that's the problem. There was no clean votes here. If he goes with Ozzy and then Emily, Stephanie, votes out Angelina, now Mike's pissed. But what can he do, right? If they vote out Emily, then Ozzy's pissed, which I guess he's already kind of living with. But this way, like, everybody's pissed. Except for Stephanie.
And it is interesting because all like the other votes, especially before the swap, he was very focused on it being a clean vote. So it really shows how much the like prior relationship and knowledge he has of Mike White really spooked him.
And I do think that was another part of it coming. I think he wanted to not be one of 3 David versus Goliath. I think he recognized that was not good for his game. Probably recognized that before the season started. And so there probably was some motivation. And then when, Mike is pushing it off of Angelina, that's also why he decides, well, if it's not going to be Angelina, it's going to be Mike. Like, I don't want to get out of this swap situation with the 3 of us still here. That's bad for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think he's right in that it's worse for Christian than it is for Angelina or Mike White. Because he's
definitely
probably the more threatening player in people's minds already. So trying to reduce where that threat comes from. So, like, again, I think there's many reasons to want to vote Mike out, but I think the way he did it opens him up. Like, I think he's in real danger next week, but I do think that people, like fans and that, might be overselling how dangerous. Because the problem is, for him to be really in danger, Ozzy and Angelina have to work together.
That's true.
And I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe. I mean, I think Ozzy would be open to working with people enough. He seemed pretty pissed at the end of the night there. But it's just like, I mean, he's voted for her twice. Or, I guess he didn't vote for her last week. But like, she has been voted for by Stephanie and Ozzy. I know old Angelina wouldn't have been very excited about that. I don't know about the current version. That said, I can sympathize with not being able to rid yourself of an Emily who never shuts up. So,
how dare you?
And sometimes you just like let
My name
friendship
is
get in the way.
Emma.
Exactly. We talked about a lot last week about how much she was sucking at Survivor. What are your thoughts
on Emily? Well, first, I wonder if part of the problem for Christian is that his wife is named Emily, and if that's really throwing him off his game. He's like, wait, but a nerdy woman named Emily. Clearly, I must vow to stay with her. Yeah, I mean, she's not good at the game. She's never been good at the game.
No.
She's more entertaining to watch than she was the first couple weeks of her first season. So I'm not minding it. It's a fun wrench to throw. But it was really fun when Mike White was pitching, like voting her out, and he starts talking to Stephanie about being a good game player. My husband was like, "What?" And then like realized just like, oh, he's just pitching to vote her out. Like, so he's thinking like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Stephanie might believe it. She didn't watch that season.
Yeah, he's like, what do you know? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that she just really will say everything.
Yeah. And like, this is from her first minute on Survivor, right? Where she's like, yeah, we should just get rid of somebody who already played here
for 10 hours. Yeah. Boy, if she ever comes back, I mean, that would be a problem anyway. I was like, if she ever somehow comes back and Kyle's there again and trying to say he's like, well, I'm not really a 2-time player.
Yeah.
She's gonna futz.
So, yeah, I mean, and now I'm like, he can't get rid of her next week. It's Christian's path to survival now is his newfound alliance with Emily and Stephanie.
Yeah, he has to really be on the like, I saved you, but I don't think she cares.
Yeah.
I don't think she's gonna care.
At the very least, he has to be very delicate with that situation, because if you spook Emily in any way, even just a little bit, she will tell everyone and tell you, and then only see the potential negative outcome, But like, I do think there's like, again, if he can really foster Stephanie, Emily, and then smooth things over with Ozzy enough, and like, okay, we're gonna do Angelina, we promise. That could work. I think
what his one shot might be?
What's that?
Finding the fake idol at tribal council and telling everyone, yes! Oh, I have an idol.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I had a similar thought. Do you have any more to say on it? Because you deserve it.
I mean, it was basically...
I think that's the whole take, yeah. But that would be interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'd have to, and then if they both make it to the merge, he'll have to tell Devin, like, I'm sorry, I had to use it.
So you shouldn't apologize too much. Like, you only have that's my idol rap there.
That's true.
Asterisk, not your idol. We'll get to that. Yeah, I think so. For Mike, as I said, I think he pushed Christian a little too far. He thought this is going to be the way to do it, and then it had the opposite effect. I think that freaked Christian out. I don't know, what am I thinking? Christian said that freaked him out. Like, ooh, how impressive my psychological skills. When the guy says it's a knife to the heart, and that's a thing that happens, right? You think that you have this way to convince somebody, and especially in a game like Survivor, pushing that hard does the opposite, right? And then people just will push back, like, oh, well, you're dangerous. But I think where it all went wrong, because we see this 2 votes in a row, and he talks about it in exit interviews as well. Mike seemed to feel like it was his job to save Angelina, and I think that was probably a mistake. What do you think?
Yeah, probably a mistake, but like I get it. Like the stakes are much lower for Mike White than everyone else. He's truly just happy to be there. I'm sure. I mean, I believe that he wanted to be there longer, based on what he has said, and also just like otherwise, why do it again? But Angelina is his friend outside of the game. Like they have maintained a relationship more so than he has with Christian, which is probably the other thing. It's like Christian clearly the third in the David versus Goliath 3 as the David. So he also probably knows, how much like probably means more to her than him at this point, and attached and doesn't want his friend to go home. So yeah, for his game, probably not the right call, but like I'm not going to dog on him too much because he's just in a different situation than most other people.
Oh yeah, but like if we're looking at like you do it once, coming in here perfectly. Yeah, and why would I vote for anybody else? I only know these 2 people. I just met you guys. But like, was his plan to like come up with schemes every week to save Angelina? At some point, you have to be like, I tried.
He probably thought once they're in a merge, big or not, she's less of a concern. Sure. If people keep talking about her being the weak link in challenges or not working around camp, that's going to stop mattering eventually.
So, how excited were you going into the season that Angelina was going to be on the season?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely looking forward to it. Not as excited as John.
Yeah,
I can tell you that. But, yeah, I mean, speaking of Survivor being on during vacations, I will never forget the fact that I watched Angelina asking for the jacket on my phone on like daily motion during my honeymoon while my husband was still asleep, and I woken up with time differences and whatnot, and was just like having to try so hard not to laugh too loud and wake him up because I could not believe what I was seeing. And like that is a memory that'll stay with me forever. So that meme about how you should go outside more because who remembers the time they've watched TV? Ridiculous. I remember many times watching TV.
Yeah, so it's like she was so much fun. Is she going to be fun at all this season? Because I don't know that she has been.
God, I'm worried. The one thing I'm holding on to is that, well, although by this point we probably did have jacket and eggs, but because very early on in David versus Goliath, Angelina was not that much of a character. A lot of people were mixing her up with Natalia, which is a little silly. They don't actually look alike. But they just have dark hair. But she didn't really pop until later, but it does. And there are a lot of people still, which is, I think, affecting things. There's still, which is nuts. But man, I'm like, damn it. Did becoming a mom mature her? Like, did time and raising small children change her? I'm worried that it did. Good for her children, I guess, but
good for her,
and her, yeah, But sometimes being out there, maybe she just needs to get a little hungrier.
Maybe, yeah.
Older. Is the problem that they gave her a jacket?
Could be.
Is that the issue?
She's too comfortable now.
They're all warm.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like first couple of episodes, whatever. There's, she didn't go to tribal council. There's a lot of mouths to feed, but she's been like a target for 2 episodes now, and we haven't gotten any star moments. She's just kind of been incidental, and I'm concerned. There's still time. Obviously, she's still there. Her buddy Mike was voted out. Like that could spurn something. But like the biggest Angelina moment we have so far is people talking about she's just a statue, right? And I do think like there's some people who question like, why are you guys so into Angelina? She was no good. Yeah, she was no good. It was hilarious. It was great. There was this entitlement energy to her. You know, Mike White, she's like Tracy Flick out here, and I think she's grown and matured. And now all that's gone. And that was also like, so that was amusing during her season, and then she comes back from her season. You know, she's commenting a lot and like, oh, actually, I agree with everything Angelina says. Like, she has all these great views and all this, and now I think maybe she's hyper aware that she was kind of a ridiculous human on her season, and she's not going to be that. And an Angelina who isn't that good, you know, he's like, again, good for her as a human. That's probably better. But I don't know what else you offer on Survivor. You know, you're not doing challenges. You're not really interested in strategy. You're not doing. I mean, I don't care about chores as a visual element, but it's like I don't know what part of the Survivor experience you have to offer if you're not like this kind of silly pseudo villain type. And I don't know that she's going to be that at all. You know,
And if she's not, then it's like, man, we really lost Q for her.
yeah.
Like, I'm going to need her to spice things up, which really does seem like it could happen next
It
week
could.
based
But
on her being blindsided and seeing her best friend go home. But if it doesn't, it's like, Q was still popping. Even though he was actually less unhinged, he was still very entertaining. I miss him already.
yeah, I mean, Mike's more like entertaining than her. You know, even in the original configuration, you think like, well, maybe she could have like some kind of like rivalry with Aubry. No, that was Genevieve's role. Not as interesting as like, you know. So it's just like, yeah, I feel like this isn't the space for Angelina, you know. So hopefully she's not so lackluster that the traders forget to call her, because I think that would be a fantastic environment for
That would be
Angelina.
fun.
But I do worry that this isn't her format, or maybe the time in her life anymore. Sad. So yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get fun Angelina this season. Flip side of that, are we ever gonna get anything other than miserable Aubry?
God, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, I know the answer is because it's season 50 and that's hard to turn down, but like, just like, why did you come back, girl? You don't seem to like it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like not just the 50, I feel like enough time had probably passed for her that she'd done the work, and she has kids, I believe.
Right,
That's
like
accurate,
maybe
right?
this time, just one, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Singular. But she's a mother. And
like-
being a parent, I can attest, does change you, unless you're doing it wrong. And like she maybe had reflections of like why did I say yes to the last ones, right? The second one way too fast. The third one still wasn't that, you know, I have no time. Then there's a whole crazy time. So maybe now there's been enough space, and this is 50. I can get that Survivor experience that I was so close to getting the first time around, and like maybe like close, like full circle, or close some of these, you know, open wounds. And the answer has been like, definitely not.
No.
And you get the sense that maybe she knows it. Like, God damn, why did I do this? I thought I was in this healthy space, and then I get out here, and yeah, no, like this has been a celebration. That's what they were all talking about. It feels like literally everybody else is having some degree of a good time. Like Chrissy had a low moment, but you know, she's ready to kidnap Zac Brown or whatever. Colby is living it up to a degree that he hasn't since, like, you know, at the
And
Outback,
I feel like
right?
that's probably what Aubry was looking for. Is like Colby was trying to get that redemption of how he felt during Heroes versus Villains, and it's just, maybe she just needs to not be on a tribe with Genevieve, and that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just like this is at least the third season in a row, and really that's kind of the fourth until she got her footing at a certain point where, like, she doesn't vibe with people. And that really just tells you, like, I don't think this is the environment for you. And it's fine, man. You were a huge fan. I thought you did really well in your season once, you know, you got your sea legs. But, you know, clearly she lost because she didn't vibe enough with the people that were there. A thing that I always kind of been like, yeah, but look at what those people were. But enough iterations have gone through, and it's not 50-50, right? She was targeted as like, oh, that one's dangerous because her season had just aired when she comes out for Game Changers. And then like all the returnees were targeted in Edge of Extinction. So it's like, again,
Yeah, but she also got played the worst.
yeah, no, and it's like you would have felt like when she was on the Edge of Extinction, she would have been like having all "why did I come back" moment. She probably did, and it's just, as survivors in the past have said, it's like childbirth and you kind of forget it. But now, like, it's just like, oh damn, like I don't dislike Aubry. I haven't even manufactured some great deal of annoyance from her that came out of nowhere. Like some people that frequently speak on this podcast. The beauty of having no memory is he legit doesn't remember that he used to, like, yes, be a stan for Aubry. But
it's so weird.
Through 4 episodes, I'm like, oh god damn, girl, you really shouldn't be here, you know? Forget like you're taking some, like, I'd rather be watching Jerry Matthews. So it's like this is bad for you. This is bad for you as a person.
Like, I've heard, I think she said it recently, but I feel like I recall her saying in the past too, that Andrea has said, and that she like really befriended Aubry on Game Changers, but has said that Aubry told her Game Changers was like the season that she had the most fun on, and Andrea was like, oh no. Like, oh dear, that's worrying based on your other seasons, because Andrea's like, who has been on 3 not good to watch seasons, but it was like, and I think actually all 3 of her seasons have had quote unquote like bad moments, and she's like, no, Game Changers felt dark, man. That was tough. And so she's like, and that was the most fun Aubry had. Oh dear, like she should not be going back.
No, and I think, like you just get the sense, like just how quickly she was on the outs on Batu and stuff. And like that weird conversation with Genevieve that we only see one side of, but like where Genevieve's like, hey, wait a minute, and I'll tell you why I don't trust you. It's like, what? Like, I just think she's too introverted. And
Yeah.
I speak from what I know, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's, I hope maybe she can just go out, like, get a splashy idol play in and feel better, and then like get voted out not long after that. And maybe for her also pre-merge might be, I don't know if pre-merge will be better, because then it's like, oh, I didn't redeem from Edge of Extinction, or if it's better because then she can just like have a vacation.
Yeah. And the good news is, I don't think we have to worry about her harming herself by coming back. I'm pretty confident this is the end of the road for Aubry. I can't imagine them asking for her back at this point.
No, although I do think it's probably the end of the road for anyone who's on their like 3rd or more time at this point.
Possibly. I don't know if the show can ever quit Ozzy, you know?
Maybe, but his back might quit on him.
You'd think. Let's talk about the other side. We're talking about idols. So in this episode, Genevieve finds a second idol. What a kick in the ass must it be to find 2 idols in a season in the first 8 days or whatever, and have no idols.
At least she probably knew this time that that's what was going to happen. I do wonder, for the people who knew about the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol TM, if when Jeff is talking about how a big major artist was like a big fan.
And I know. It's like, is it Billie?
Is it going to be Billie Eilish? And then it's just like, here's a B-tier country star.
That would have been weird seeing Billie Eilish in that, because she kind of always, and this is her early vibe, and I haven't been keeping up on how much, but like kind of an air of indifference is kind of her vibe, and be like, how's it going? Yeah.
Like, that's too many layers, Billie. You're gonna overheat. Anyway, sorry to get back on track. No, that does suck. But, maybe eventually they'll be normal. Or she could end up with 2 idols if Ozzy and Rizo get voted out. So
I did like how she was yada-yadding. Yeah. This is the Billie Eilish. I know this.
Hey, Billie. Yeah. Okay. Call me.
Get the tattoos. And I mean, the story that seems to be setting up here is that her departure might be idol influence. Like, that would be amazing if she finds 2 idols that she is not allowed to keep, and then she is ousted by the 3rd one. I'm kind of rooting for it, even though, again, like, for all involved, it'd be best if Aubry left sooner than later. But maybe it could be like I guess some kind of weird. We're voting twice, tribal council. So she gets her idol play, and then they just
We
vote
do
her
have
out
a
right
lot of
after
people
that.
we got to get through.
Yeah, and then she like gets her little victory, and then gets to go home. That could be nice. But yeah, no. And so, what did you think of her choice this time?
Sure. I mean, I think it makes sense to send to an ally. Like she already did sort of the kind of trap. Now that they've swapped, going to that someone like is good because you could still blindside them, but like also maybe, you can work together. Although he can't play it on you. And enough people will probably know about the boomerang thing that he can't bluff it like he did before. Although, of course, no one there knows that that's what he did before. But like, she can't give it to Colby. He's on her tribe. This was before, at least how we were shown, before they saw who was voted out. So I don't know what would have happened if she was like, I want to give it to Q.
I suspect they would have been like, nope, try again.
No, yeah. Or like, if you're picking someone from that tribe, you have to pick 2 options or something. But yeah, I mean, sure,
I did like that. She's like, yeah, I had an alliance with him, but I'll vote him out. That's cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that out. Yeah, so as you say, if they had known what had happened with Rizo, I wonder if that changes anything. It's like, well, he doesn't play idols, so
I think that makes it better. Yeah, because this group of people might actually
vote for him?
Consider putting votes on that person, or like splitting a vote. They're gonna have, I don't know when they're gonna merge it, how many people, they're gonna have enough people to split a vote. There's so many people. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that would make more like, I mean, maybe I wouldn't, her logic before was like, oh, who got voted out with an idol? And like, that's sort of why she did Ozzy. Now, granted, that was so long ago, I don't think, but like, if you gave it to, say, Tiffany, since Q was on her tribe, like, I bet if Tiffany has an idol, she's like, I'm playing it the second I feel any fear, because that's what messed her up before. Whereas, like, not playing the idol worked great for Rizo. So.
Yeah. No, that was your hypothetical. Tiffany's on her current tribe, so she couldn't.
No, I know. I meant originally.
Yeah, I'm just saying that for the people that might be like writing in the comments. Oh, how do you not know that?
Yeah,
she knows. She was just giving that as an example of another person who.
For the first.
Yeah. I do like how Rizo, I think, is like, I'm ready to do my idol tricks again. And yeah, I don't know that it's going to work. The only reason why it could possibly work is nobody knows what happened with him, which you would think would be an advantage. And yet, in what just has to be one of the most delightful stories in the history of returnee seasons of Survivor, we get more of that this week. Just how delightful is the Charlie's one-sided beef with Rizo over fake information.
The way I wish I could pay money to have seen Charlie watch season 49 and like realize that Savannah was his ride or die.
Rizo is actually exactly what Charlie is looking for in an alliance partner. Somebody who is loyal, will go to the end, and then will help you win.
Talked about playing an idol on her even. Didn't, but, threatened it. Kept them safe. It's so funny. Like, oh, it kills me. It's so funny. And, like, there's just so many things. Okay, I think Savannah was already gone when he said that. I think most of us are now probably like, he probably said that lie before and just wants to keep his lie straight, is that he and Savannah weren't tight. Say you voted for Sophie. Nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
Although maybe he's instead is like, I want people to think I'm going to vote for who played the best game. But then it's like, Charlie, just don't be his number one ally and it's fine.
I just love how Charlie's like, no, I can't. He's got to go. He's got to go soon. I mean, Charlie's probably sitting there like, can I throw a challenge? I got to get rid of this guy.
And Jonathan's like, nope, it's impossible.
No, it is.
I'm here.
Oh no, it's so amazing, and it's just like why the show is so great for 50 seasons, and how iterative it is. This is a whole new thing, because we've had it pretty much every season that there's been like at least half a tribe of returnees. I don't know. I didn't do the math on this, but like somebody's playing back to back. Somebody is the mystery element. Maybe not Caramone. I can't remember.
No, Malcolm was.
Okay, yeah.
Which is probably why he ended up working more with the favorites, because the fans didn't know him, or sorry, the fans, because the favorites didn't know him anyway.
Yeah. Blood versus Water, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think,
I can't remember what season is before.
because
Who
that's
cares?
27. Yeah, no, so no one was.
But yeah, there's generally this element, and there's been just configurations of what happens. Like, well, we don't know this guy, so we're not going to worry about him. The Russell thing, right? And then there's, hey, we just met, but we're vibing. Amanda goes all the way to the finals, just fine. And then there's like, this one's a threat, and Rizo had that. So like, he's like, okay, I know about them. They don't know about me. What a fantastic advantage. And instead, and everybody else is like, we don't know about them. They know about us. That's a big threat. And instead, you get this whole new thing where it's like, I am not going to tell them. Understandable. And he's getting burned. Maybe. We'll see how it plays out. But at least the story is because he's lying about what happened. That's never happened before. It's amazing. And it kind of tells you, like, you should just maybe tell people. And I understand. You think it's an advantage, and in the past it has been. If people knew what a dirtbag Russell was, then they wouldn't. But it's like, you don't need to tell them that part. You just say, yeah, I made it to the finals. I was really loyal. And I get it. It's like, I don't want people to know we were tight. It's like, everybody else is dealing with that's playing with somebody there. Like, eventually, like, that would just become background noise. I feel like the attempt to obfuscate creates more, worry in people than just being like, yeah, I'll tell you everything that happened in our season because I know everything that happened to yours. Blankly. Especially for him. He didn't win,
Yeah, I feel like the move would have been like, oh, we got betrayed at the merge and lost our close ally, and then, we were the underdogs back against the Savit, won a bunch of challenges, maybe he, obfuscates it, like says we got people to flip or whatever because they don't want to, if he doesn't want to talk about the idol, but just like, yeah, we were the underdogs, we made it together to Fire. I lost at Fire, which is a great thing to tell people.
Yeah.
And then and I voted for her because we were right at
But yeah, it's like, okay, I mean, people probably don't love that, they were connected, but like, there's a bunch of other connections. Like, by the time that becomes an issue, other things would probably have cropped up.
And honestly, he probably should have been able to guess that Savannah was not going to make it too far, just because people were going to figure out that she won, and not knowing anybody, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that would have been an unreasonable gamble to take.
Mm-hmm. But by the same token, I'm saying that it's easy because I'm seeing all this. But how is he supposed to guess? His little lie, unnecessary lie that's like, oh, no, my real ally was this person, but I didn't vote for her, could be his death warrant. Just amazing stuff.
Also, real quick, I had the thought of like, man, Charlie and Camilla end up on a tribe together because he would love to work with her. And then I'm like, wait, they're currently on a tribe together. Why isn't he just like glomming onto, man, I saw the way that you gestured at, the jury was like, I got you. Like, be my friend.
Maybe there are, like, obviously the only story coming out of Calo, two, is the main one is this just hilarious, Charlie Rizo thing. And then the other, actually, no, sorry. I'm looking at the tribes originally. I was going to say the other one is Chrissy's annoying, but that's a different tribe. But yeah, like, that's kind of the only story coming out of that tribe besides Jonathan Good challenge.
Yeah. D likes Zac Brown.
Yeah. So, we get previews. There's going to be more of this next week, but I don't know that I believe that they're going to tribal council. So, I mean, maybe. Because only one tribe is not. So
yeah, they did come in second this time.
Yep. All right. Shockingly, that's pretty much the episode. You got anything else to say about this episode?
Nope. I think we can move on to the fan mail.
Yeah, so I didn't prep you for this because straight up, there's nothing for you here. It's a question for John and I. So
sexism strikes again.
They didn't know you were going to be on the show.
I said what I said. Oh, you're silencing the woman's opinion now, Andy.
You could say that maybe I could have saved this for when John and I are talking next week, but I kind of feel like
History Month.
I feel like John wouldn't answer this question seriously. And I decided I will. So here's the voicemail we got. Trisket here. Hey, Trisket, how's it going? I remember for a long time you guys talked about potentially quitting the podcast around the end of every season. I don't feel like it was every season, but I think that was around HHH or something like that. Definitely.
Oh my God, that was one time.
I think it actually was more Ghost Island, but anyway. Thrilled you didn't, of course. Seems like you guys are enjoying doing it again more now. Yay. What made you unks? Thank you. Decide to stick around, and what in the show got you excited about the pod again? Does the new era just hit that hard, or did Andy finally just realize that he likes having a scheduled weekly hangout with John? Love your show. Truly an amazing podcast, and much love for never doing sponsorships. Okay, that last part was unnecessary. Never compliment us. Yeah, I'll answer this seriously because, it was around that time. Definitely, I think post Coast Island. Maybe there's a few other times mulling it around. The Survivor community was not a lot of fun back then at that precise moment. And some of it is completely understandable. Those seasons were not good. And people were rightly expressing their displeasure with them. And that part's fine. But the tenor of the complaints bothered us. And we tended to push back on it in a way that probably was not healthy, especially for me, in the way that I did it. My style back then was very much sarcasm. I don't know how much that has changed, but the experience of that, did teach me a few things. Like, especially in comments, I would go back at people and think it's just kind of playful banter, but like with mine was a little more like I wanted to win and stuff. And that wasn't great. So then by the end of the season, it was just like, God, all people are doing is complaining. Like, this is not fun. And that's where that came from. You kind of felt the same way. Like, you obviously weren't thinking of quitting the podcast or anything, but like, you can back me up that it like wasn't fun times back then.
Yeah. I mean, it's, that was a while ago for sure. And since I'm so much younger than you, it feels even longer ago.
That's back when you were young.
Yeah. That was nice. I liked that time. Except for in Survivor. Ha ha ha. No, actually that was a great time because that was when they were doing live finales and I'd like go to the after parties and it was fun. But yeah, I remember just particularly people really insisting that like the editors are hiding good story from us, and surely at Chelsea is secretly super entertaining, and things like that of just like the assumption that like the people make. And look, we complained a lot about the addition of a country music singer for no reason, and so it's not like they never make mistakes, but it's just a lot of like, oh, these people have been making this show for, 15 years, don't know basic tenets of television.
Yeah.
that is just, as someone like, more connected to that world, like, it's just like, that's just not how it works, my guy. But yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's changed in a lot of fan spaces. What did change for us and why we were able to get back to it was we left those spaces. And like, it's not like I wasn't on Reddit. I'm more on Reddit now than I was then because the place that I was on, I am not on at all.
Right.
So Twitter
Same.
was kind of a place. And then like some of that spills into our own comments and then just kind of the overall vibe. So, and like at that time, I was more motivated to like know more. Because that's the thing about me. If I'm into something, I want to like, I had this like weird like little panic, like, oh, somebody will catch me that I don't know this thing. I let all that go. We stopped doing off-season content. I did not listen to any other Survivor podcasts. I just the season ends, I walk away, and then I come back, and that helped a lot. Another thing we did in the immediate aftermath is John and I decided we weren't going to do every podcast, and like you guys took over some podcasts even without us there. Obviously, we stopped doing that at 40. And then you guys kind of come when we're not available. Thank you for that. In part because that like limiting how much Survivor was a part of our lives, limiting how much I was exposing myself to the unhappy fandom, made it fun for me again. And then there's kind of his note here is like, do I like having a scheduled weekly hangout with John? This is why I had to wait till he wasn't here, because the answer is yes, and he'll never hear it. Yeah, man, it's just, and it's not always John, obviously this week with you, but like this is fun for me.
Rank us.
You don't want that. But yeah, like it's obviously I clearly enjoy the sound of my own voice, or more sharing my opinions, and somehow I have this platform that like a not insignificant number of people want to hear it. So that's flattering and enjoyable. But yeah, man, like now, like especially like once we got kind of past that, and I'd say 40 on, John and I basically like just do what's fun for us. We have a whole segment that we're about to get to where we do lists about things, and it's never about Survivor, right? Like this is fun for us, and like to get really serious. There's been times over the past year where maybe like things were going on in my life that maybe I shouldn't have showed up that week. John definitely was like, "Hey, if you don't want to be here," but I was like, "No, I enjoy this. This is a nice little outlet for me." So yeah, like we made sure that we were just going to have fun with it, that we didn't care. Like we didn't need to be the smartest guys on Survivor. We didn't need to push back on everything. And if we did, more playful way, I dialed down some of my own toxicity with it. And then now it's just like, yeah, I like having, during the season, kind of weekly, just hang out. And is it ridiculous that I need to like have a topic and schedule it in order to talk with a friend? Probably. But hey,
you're
man, I didn't invent the male loneliness epidemic. And I'll say, like, I know that if the podcast ended, our friendships probably would start to fade away. Because I've had that situation happen in other times where like the thing that brought you together, whether it was like, co-ed basketball or like fantasy football. Once I stopped doing those things, I didn't see those people anymore. It might be a little different because we communicate about things that aren't Survivor on a regular basis, but I kind of feel like if we lost the Survivor part, we would probably drift away too. So that is maybe more behind the curtain than you expected, but that was the answer. Again, it was for us, so I don't know if there's much for you to add, but feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I have no control over whether there's a podcast or not. John goes on vacation or gets sick, and I get asked to be here because of time zones. I think maybe back then I might have still been blogging too. I can't really remember. But once I started doing any writing professionally, that lost a lot of appeal. And also I am literally unable to log into the website anymore. So that ended. But, after years of that, I did start to run out of topics. I think that definitely got harder. But yeah, I mean, what you're saying about the non-significant amount, I joked about that before, but or I shouted out that person before, but, went to Stephen Fishbeck's book signing, and literally just the person I happened to sit next to, turned out we were just sitting next to each other. And then when I was introduced myself to someone else, this is where clearly the ruse of Emma or Emily goes to hide. But, saying Emily, she's like, wait, okay. I thought your voice sounded familiar. Are you from Purple Rock Podcast? And I was like, holy shit. Because that has happened once before. And obviously, if it's going to happen, it would be in those spaces, unlike you, who can apparently go to a record store and find a commenter. But, it is trippy and nice, that there are people out there who because this has been going on for so long. That's
13 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I was once young, and now I have so many gray hairs, y'all. It's crazy. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have. I mean, because obviously it's different for me. I believe in the power of friendship because we have our Slack that we talk on all the time. But
yeah, although I do find in the off season some of the conversations slow down. Survivor obviously provides a little bit more meat for the conversations.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And maybe it's more fun because some of our topics are not fun at all because the world is awful.
There is that, yes.
All right, so that's all the fan mail for this week. So now we do the thing as I hinted at. That'd be the top 3 of the week. And no, as I said, no Zac Brown band. Not Phil Collins either. He was mentioned, but I mean, I could do one, but who cares? Instead, I thought, especially because I have somebody this week who actually watches things, that's helpful. We were going to rank our top 3 Mike White projects. So this would be entertainment things that Mike White has either written, directed, or been featured in. So I think he also does producing. We're ignoring that part. Because I can never fully know how much producing somebody did.
Yeah, that is something I've frankly never understood, and I've taken a class on production.
Yeah, I mean, there are different levels. Some are very involved, and some people just get that credit. Um, I will let you start since I talked for a long time just before this. Where are you starting?
Thank you. Well, I'll go. Well, first, a disclaimer is that there's a lot of his, I think, most well-regarded work that I haven't seen. So I've never watched Enlightened. I
Me
haven't
neither.
watched Chuck and Buck
Me neither.
or Beatrice at Dinner or Bread Status. So just FYI. I'm also gonna have for an honorable mention, I'm gonna do White Lotus season 1. It just feels like too much of a like cheat almost because it was like inspiration from Survivor. So I think if I had put more thought into it, maybe season 1 ranks higher than the 3 things I will name. Seasons 2 and 3 I don't think really do. But
So you're of the belief that season 1 was the best of the 3.
I think so.
I
Yes. I definitely think 3 was the worst.
Yes, I agree there. Like I can listen to arguments that 2 was better, but I
Yeah, some
enjoyed
of that's a
1
matter
more.
of taste.
Yeah. Okay.
But
But
yeah.
your so that's your honorable mention.
Yes.
I do not have any honorable mentions, but this is a good point. I've just the White Lotus at 3, like the entire
Okay.
project. I didn't bother, but similarly, I liked 1 best. Just think it was funnier. The satire was better, and the people were very attractive.
He did say in his exit press that, so I guess he didn't stay at Ponderosa, but he didn't go home. So he's basically on his own, and that he, I don't think maybe fully wrote, but like got the story beats down for season 4. And what really made me feel better is that he said, I forget exactly how he put it, but he said before that he had maybe like the well had run dry or something like that. So if he's acknowledging that and that this was maybe a burst of creativity, that gives me some hope for season 4.
I mean, maybe he wrote the whole thing. Like that's Mike White's thing, and
True.
why the White Lotus exists at all is that he works fast.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so we're coming off of COVID, and there's like nothing in the pipelines for people, and then he's like, I can make a show. And that's where the White Lotus comes from. And yeah, like some people might be shocked that we have this low. I think I enjoyed the show. I watched it. I'll watch the next season. But like there's like a camp vibe, like a campy vibe to it that isn't quite my thing. So that keeps it, below the other things on my list. And then, there's sometimes very wildly varying quality. And even like within a season, sometimes like, man, that episode really hit. And then sometimes like, really, we're doing this. So, but for the most part, like, it's a good show. I like it.
Yeah.
Number 3. What do you got at number 3?
Okay. For my number 3, I did a movie I actually watched, maybe a year or 2 ago. I have no sense of time. But that is Orange County. Because I enjoyed it. It's got Colin Hanks, famous Giants fan. It featured the song California by Phantom Planet before the OC did, in a shocking twist. Yeah. And it's got a kid from the show Grosse Pointe that nobody but me remembers. And cute movie. Nothing. Oh, Jack Black. Nothing crazy. I think maybe again, like maybe White Lotus season 1. I could definitely put ahead of this, but again, there's, and I'm sure if I watch any of the other things I said before, it might that'll probably bump this off because it's a solid like 3.5 star type movie out of 5, to be clear, not out of 10. But enjoyable, fun, enjoyable time.
And I should reiterate, because I also have not seen Enlightened. I have no doubt that belongs on this list for most people.
I was on the AV Club. I remember when it got named Best Show of the Year ahead of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So I know how it's viewed by people.
I think I just didn't have access to it when it first came out, and then
probably me neither.
Yeah, and then now I do, but it's like there's a lot of shows. So for my number 2, I have a show that like the show itself, I think is the best thing he's ever been a part of, but
we probably have the same thing.
He is only somewhat part of it, and that's Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
So he has writing credits on 3 episodes of that series. Now, there aren't that many episodes, so it's not an insignificant percentage of it. But like 1's like story by, and then 2 are full writing credits. So Freaks and Geeks is amazing, but it's not like a Mike White thing. So it couldn't be my number 1 Mike White project.
Yeah, I thought the same way, and because of that, I went with a specific episode. So I chose of the three he's credited on what I. And also a thing I think to keep in mind for people, getting a credit for like. Okay, sure. Mike White writes all of The White Lotus, like Jacob Tierney wrote all of Heated Rivalry. There are things like that. But generally speaking, especially for like more traditional television, which this was at the time, broadcast TV, you have a room, like people are contributing to everything, and then someone's writing it. So,
And that room was pretty legendary. Like a lot of talent in that room.
Yeah, so it's like hard to really say, and like based on episodes. I did though, just for the purpose of this list, specify an episode, kind of because the same way. It's like you don't think of Freaks and Geeks as Paul Feig and Judd Apatow, when you think of it that way. But so I said Kim Kelly is my friend. He's also, which I didn't remember until Mike Hirsch reminded me, is briefly in that episode. So but he plays Kim Kelly's brother apparently. Yeah, and anyway, Freaks and Geeks rules. If you haven't watched it yet, do it.
I'm actually thinking I might rewatch it again soon.
Not a bad idea. I've seen it twice in my life. It has been a long time though, but what a banger, just great show.
Now we discussed recently, there actually isn't a lot of TV on at this exact precise moment.
I've got a whole list. If I could, no, you know what? That's a tangent. We're doing so well. Yeah. I'm going to hold off.
I'm going to let you say number one. I have a feeling like it might be the same as mine. So instead of you being like, he stole mine again, maybe
it's School of Rock.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah. School of Rock rules.
So great.
It's such a good movie. It's like, here's a great thing to say about School of Rock. I remember being at a friend's wedding in like the suburbs of Chicago. And, so there wasn't much really, our hotel had Netflix. So we're like, instead of cable. So instead of watching like HGTV, because that's what you do at a hotel, we're like, okay, what's that Netflix? They had School of Rock. We're like, hell yeah, perfect. Throw it on. And like, that's the vibe, man.
And it's a movie, you could just jump into it at any point. Like, we're going to watch this for a bit.
Yeah.
I think I showed it to my kids, or at least the youngest, for the first time a couple of years ago. The oldest might have already seen it prior to that. And that basically that summer he was a fan of like hard rock, heavy metal. It didn't last past that summer. So unfortunately, like the shirts that he bought, it's like, you already done with this, huh? He probably outgrew him anyway. But that's just the power of it. And obviously, I love music, so a movie with enthusiasm over music. The kids are great. 2 of them are married. That's fucking adorable.
That's so sweet.
Freaks and actually, like, it might be better than Freaks. There's hard to compare. It's a bit of an apples and oranges thing, but like it's easy to rank School of Rock first because he wrote the movie. He's in the movie. It's not like, Mike White was part of that. Yes, no, Mike White is part of that.
Mike White being Ned Schneebly is why anyone on David versus Goliath was like, oh shit, that's Mike White.
Yeah, there wasn't like, oh man, it's Chuck. I actually don't know if he was Chuck or Buck.
I don't either. And like, I will say, I know a lot of people have a lot of affection for Nacho Libre. I saw it for the first time as an adult. So I'll just say I don't share that affection, but love that for you guys.
I would have loved it though. It's like, oh man, it's the director of The Good Girl or
yeah, right. That would, but like, Ned Schneebly is probably one of the larger role. Again, except for Chuck and Buck, I assume. He's more of a lead, but like is his most visible like acting role, and because your average person who is not a deranged freak like myself does not recognize writers, and actors, writers or directors. School of Rock's so good.
It is. I love it. I might watch it again on my plate. So that is all for this week. As mentioned, unless he has another engagement that he just completely forgot about, which is always a possibility. John will be back next week. He and I'll podcast, and then I don't know who's podcasting after that because I'm out of here for 2 weeks. So hopefully nobody important gets eliminated in those 2 weeks. Hopefully it's not an Edge of Extinction situation where I come back 2 weeks and everybody hates Survivor. It's like, what happened? I feel like that's less likely to happen.
Oh, you mean Island of the Idols, right? Or do you mean it?
No, it was Rick Devin's first season.
Okay.
I laughed, and he's kind of like this fun guy. Oh, no, I think I left when he got voted out. Or when he comes back, and all of a sudden, he's the most hated survivor ever. And like, I think this season's good. Why are people hating it?
Sorry, I remembered that I had the terrible luck of podcasting after the merge episode of Island of the Idols, and it was with John, which is very unusual. So I was thinking like, well, if you were gone for a while, like, you know, what would have, like that could have been. But yeah, because John and I very rarely podcast together because time zones.
Yeah. All right. One more thing, not for you or us, but for the listeners. There's a new song, so I'm going to hit that music.
Ooh, I have to listen.
Mike White, you're more than just white load.